It's Sunday papers, read all about it. It's Greg and Mike, it's Fitzdog and it's Gibbons time. It's Sunday papers.
Read all about it. Read
Look at
all
us.
about it. Sunday papers.
Look at us.
Hot off the presses. Stick your nose in it. Take an inhale. Feel a little bit dizzy. It's the American way.
How are we? Look at us starting promptly.
Right on time.
No one would know that at home, but we're feeling good about it on a Friday.
Well, I've got an interview that I'm very excited about. You ever heard of a guy named Tommy Tiernan?
I don't believe.
He's the top comedian out of Ireland in the last 20 years. He's really smart, esoteric, but club comic, like a performer. Fucking brings it. So he's in town. I've always wanted to interview him. I had him on a Zoom call once, but this is going to be an in-person.
Yeah, it sounded familiar. I was wondering if you had interviewed him before.
Have you ever seen Dairy Girls?
Yes.
All right, he's the father in Dairy Girls.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to go back and watch that, though, for sure.
It's great.
You know what we did watch? So I'm sitting in a Red Roof Inn in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I just drove from Los Angeles here with Sophie, my oldest, and amazing drive. It was great. We tried to plan where we would jump in a river, find someplace to swim every evening after our drive, and it worked out amazing.
Nice. Really?
So, we did, and it's amazing. Like in Utah, the white sand beaches on some of the rivers. Nebraska, outside Ogallala, they have white sand beaches.
Nice cold water?
No, it wasn't that bad, believe it or not, although we were baking in this old car. But leaving Utah, I believe it was in Utah, there's the childhood home of Butch Cassidy. So we pulled...
I thought there was a fictitious character.
Nope. We pulled over and went and checked it out, this tiny cabin. And they have all the stats on when he lived there and all that stuff. And then last night, because 2 nights ago we were too tired. We're watching Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid together, and I'm like, do you know how long the stretches are where there's no dialogue at all?
Yeah.
It's beautiful, not really on a laptop though. I mean, it is, but that's not its intention. So anyway,
Burt Bacharach.
Oh yeah. And she's really liking it, though. It's great.
Wow, that's amazing.
And we didn't do it. We made it, and I'm like, all right, why don't we pause here because we're both getting tired. We have like 30 minutes left. The 30 minutes, of course. So they're in Bolivia, however.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so I can't believe you're still there. I mean, you left on Sunday morning, and today is Friday. So you spent with 3 days driving and now 3 days in Michigan?
Right. Just getting her all settled. She's the first one in her house. So we're getting the cable, electricity, all that stuff, shopping. But we're also having a lot of fun. And then every evening we're continuing it. We swim here in the Huron River.
No shit.
Yeah. We jump in.
You know, there's a comedy club called the Main Street Comedy Club. That's one of my favorite in the country. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah, you should go see a show.
And then it's not called the Docks, but that's what it is. I forget what it's called here, but everyone knows you can go there and go swimming. And she went up till late October last year. They went for like kind of a cold plunge.
Really?
But there was this guy fly fishing. So when I jumped in the water, when you were in the water at eye level, you could see there were so many bugs on the surface of the river because it was like evening and that's what's going on. And no fish like jumping. So I go to Sophie. I'm like, wow, you can tell. Look, Sophie, look how many bugs there are. I go, there's no trout here. And the guy goes, no trout. And it's a guy fly fishing off the dock. And he goes, you could thank Henry Ford building a dam upriver for fucking up our fishery.
In Michigan, you hold a grudge. Yeah.
Henry Ford. Of all things to hate Henry Ford for.
Right.
Putting up that dam.
You know, you can blame Charles Darwin for making the fish evolve to where they don't bite the flies anymore.
Too smart.
That's amazing. That's so. And Ann Arbor is a great little town, isn't it?
Oh, it's such a college town. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's really great.
And how'd the car hold up? Any issues?
The car held up, although now this I'm pretty sure I'm good at diagnosing it. Also, I watched about 40 YouTube videos. I think it's our left front bushing. We make, and anyone listening, you could hear like a little, like it's like a whirring. It's not a clicking. And then when you make a right turn, meaning there's more weight on it, you hear roo, roo, roo. It increases. Pretty sure it's a bushing, but found a great place here. They're going to check it out.
All right. So you'll leave her with the car, and then you fly to where?
I'm going to stop in Nashville on the way home, but basically I'm on my way home.
Yeah. Unreal. What a life.
Yeah. I love driving across country. I mean, it's like the 7th time I've done it maybe. Like, I love it.
Yeah, I'm due. I haven't done a long drive in a long time, and what I really want to do is get the Winnebago.
Totally.
I want to do that and just hit all the parks I haven't seen, and I want to watch Richard Pryor on the video.
We played him. Now, coincidentally, that's what was playing when I was filming. Have you been to Arches?
Yes.
Holy God, that is
it's incredible.
Insanity.
Yeah, you can't believe it's not man-made.
Yeah, it's really. And then we did the road, and I'm trying to relate it to her. You know, there's been a million westerns shot in Monument Valley, but I'm like, oh, here you go, and it's when Forrest Gump is jogging, and then he stops shot. Like that's the famous shot is Monument Valley, Utah.
I don't think my kids have seen Forrest Gump.
Are you serious?
Does it hold up?
I think it does. Well, especially with your kids. Your kids know to appreciate. Like I was very worried about Sophie with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, but I was pleasantly surprised. Your kids I would not have worried about with Butch and Sundance.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't worry about them with Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump's a long movie though. Butch and Sundance is 1 hour 50, but it starts with black and white footage, and it's like a square within the screen, and occasionally like print would come up, and it's old timey. It's trying to convey it's genuine that these two guys were real, and Sophie's like the whole movie's not like this, is it? I'm like, no, it's all sepia tone, box within a box.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
She's like, is it black and white? I'm like, no.
We did, we've always watched the Marx Brothers in our house ever since the kids were little. They have loved Marx Brothers since they were literally like 7 years old, and we still sit down and watch it. And so for our 25th anniversary, we watched Horse Feathers, I think. I might have talked about this, but
you did. You said it always goes great.
It's just amazing how it holds up, and I can't stop thinking about it. I keep thinking about jokes and bits that are in the movie. So amazing.
So what would you say is their top two?
Duck Soup and Night at the Opera.
But you watch Horse Feathers?
We watch Horse Feathers. And that one's got the famous scene where they're in a cabin on a ship, and they start getting food delivered, and then the maintenance man shows up, and the room is like the size of a closet, and then the housekeeper shows up, and then the girl who he's in love with shows up, and it's all one fucking camera, and they just keep loading people in, and just people are falling down, and it's, oh my God, it's amazing.
So many of those old movies like Buster Keaton and stuff, it's like we have one take in which a train will be destroyed, and he has to nail it. Yeah.
So, wanted to get this off my chest. Our good friend Dennis Gibbons, and I know we don't do good news for Gibbons anymore, but I have to do a special installment because he just reminded me once again why, when it comes to comedy, just don't get involved. Don't get involved. He calls me up and he's like, hey, you want to do a show at Venice West, which is this really cool nightclub that's literally 3 blocks from my house. It's about a year old, and I've always hesitated doing shows there just because, I don't know, it's in my neighborhood, and I just feel something weird about it.
Yeah, I remember you kind of said no originally to this, and I was curious, and then you explained that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I said no, and then in a moment of weakness, it was a Tuesday night, and I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So, I get showered, get dressed, go through my notes, come up with a couple bits, walk over there. I walk in the door, and Dennis is like, and I see the booker who looks confused. And then Dennis goes, "Oh, we're not on the show." It was the bouncer had texted me and he said, "Hey, you guys want to join?" And I assumed that meant come on the show. And then he's like, "But I think I can push my way on because I brought a bunch of people." And then earlier in the day, I get the text, "Hey, I'm not using one of my comps. Do you want to use it?" And it's like, no, I don't fucking use comps. I don't invite people to my shows because it's my work. I don't involve, it's not my, think about Dennis is, it's his social life. He brings a bunch of people, which keeps him from ever doing any new material or because he's entertaining them now. And I don't fucking do that. And if I needed a comp, I would have asked for a fucking comp. And so now I'm humiliated because like the other comic and the host are looking at me and I'm there. And as I'm walking in, 3 people recognize me who are coming in to be in the audience. Like, "Oh, that's great, man. We didn't know you were on the show." Well, I'm not on the fucking show, apparently.
No, you're one of Dennis's comps. You're a friend going to see him.
Oh, my God.
So wait, so what happened?
I don't know. I left. I immediately left. Yeah.
I got a text from Brian saying, "Hey, where were you last night?" And I'm like, Ogallala, Nebraska. And he's like, "Oh." He's like, "I was just wondering because Comedy West, the comedy show. That's all I know." He didn't say anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Well, it's just...
Did Dennis go... Oh, you don't even know if Dennis went up, do you?
I have no idea. He had friends. I don't know. I like playing golf with Dennis. I like playing paddle. I don't want to play volleyball. I don't want to do... I got to have boundaries with Dennis.
Dennis is great to go out with.
He's great to go out with.
No, I mean, I like Dennis all around, but I'm just saying if you're listing things...
Yeah. He's fun at a
party. By the way, are your headphones plugged in where I'm remembering last week?
Yes, they are.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, can I say one more Are we done with Dennis?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it sounds like you're really done with him. One more thing on the cross-country trip. So Sophie and I, the last night was Rock Island, which was on the Mississippi River. Loved it. The airport is called the Quad Cities Airport. Anyway, that's where we stayed to make the last day shorter. So she wanted to get here earlier because she wanted to like hit a store or two before we went to the house. So we pull into Ann Arbor from Rock Island, not far, like 6-hour drive. And she's like, "Oh, well, I got to go to World Market." And I'm like, "Oh, are we getting like furniture or home goods like already?" She's like, "No, I got to get some sage." I'm like, "Oh God." I go, "Oh, tell me about this." She's like, "I've got to smudge." Is that what it's called? I thought it was scrub. I got to smudge the house. And I'm like, "Sophie, you don't." And she's like, no, I do. And she's like, and then she goes, Dad, just, and I'm like, I'm rolling my eyes. She feels all the judgment because I'm trying for her to feel all the judgment. And she's like, Dad. The girl who was in my room died last semester.
No.
Yes. And I'm like,
what?
Keep in mind, I still don't think this warrants a sage smudging, but it got my attention. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, no, that's why like I've gotten special things like whatever it is. She in the room and dividing things. Oh, they gave her like the best bathroom or something like that. They're like, because we did random assignments. It's just like a frat house. Bottom floor, I think there's 4 people. Her floor, the ground floor, is 5 bedrooms, 5 girls. Upstairs, 4. Top floor, there's even 1
Get
in the
at
attic.
it. Is this a sorority house?
And then a Jewish girl way up in the attic. No, but it's former, usually
the Irish girls are in the basement.
Right. Usually a all that Michigan sun. Usually it's a sorority socially who's moved in. Like you're only in the sorority house your sophomore year, I guess. But it doesn't matter. So anyway, this poor girl. So then we go in the room and we're ready to smudge it. And then we open the closets way up above it. It's like it has a closet above the closet. And these are like 11-foot ceilings.
There's a
and we
noose.
see a carry-on suitcase. We take it down, and it has a last name. And she's like, "Oh no!" And she Googles it. She's like, "Oh fuck!" She's like, "That's hers." And there was still stuff. The parents came and cleaned it out, but she died, but not in the room. She died in a skiing accident. She skied into a tree last spring semester when Sophie was in Amsterdam away.
Oh, did the suitcase have her glasses in it? She forgot to bring them?
Oh, jeez. Okay, there we go. So we smudged it. We smudged that goddamn place.
Wow. Well, I mean, look, the girls' roommates are psyched. They get A's. Do you know that? If a roommate dies, you get A's.
I think it's a rumor. I think it's a rumor.
No.
It's a very popular
I would say
one.
if I'm moving my daughter into a house filled with 14 girls, I'm not smudging it for bad spirits. I'm looking for fucking hidden cameras from the landlord. Check the soap dish, check under the toilet. Yeah.
Totally. No, you're right. You're right. And we went to the guy today, and it's a basement office. It has this written all over it.
We went to when we moved into that house. Remember that house we moved into over by Martha and Greg?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in there, and
the cul-de-sac.
It was on a cul-de-sac. Oh God, do I want to live on a cul-de-sac again? And so we move in, and then our friend, I want to say it was Allison Hebel, but I'm not sure. One of our friends came over to smudge the house with the sage. The house had brand new wall-to-wall carpeting, and the piece of the fucking sage that was burnt, you burn it, you light it on fire.
Oh, I
know. It fell off, and it scorched a penny-sized hole in the middle of the carpet in the hallway.
It was probably Greg, it was probably a blood stain. It was doing its work. The house stunk for about 2 hours also after it.
Yeah.
So I think it worked.
Speaking of stunk, we had a squirrel. We found a dead squirrel in our backyard.
Whoa.
Which, I guess if you live in the country, that's just a day in the life. But I don't know how a fucking squirrel dies. I live in a city. This is an asphalt jungle. There's not a lot of greenery for squirrels to live in.
Meanwhile, there's coyote attacks everywhere now. Have you been reading about them?
Oh, really?
Oh, the Nextdoor app constantly. It attacked my dog. Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh, that's cool. No, there's no coyotes getting in my fence. I mean, our house is fenced in. It's very secure.
Oh,
and
I'm sure.
So we find the squirrel, and my wife's like, "Yeah, I called the city. They're gonna come remove it." And I was like, "Well, that seems like overkill, but okay, good." So I come back later, and the city didn't come. So I called the next day, and they're like, "Oh no, we don't come in your yard. You have to leave it like in a box on the curb, and then we pick it up." Great. So now I go outside. I look at the squirrel. And first of all, it smells. We've smelled it in the house for 2 days. And there is a million flies. And then I look at the squirrel, and the guts are covered in squiggly, what do you call them?
Maggots.
Maggots. Like hundreds of maggots. So fucking gross. And so I get a shovel, and I'm not really thinking straight about how to handle this because I'm just so freaked out. So I get a garbage can. People keep their garbage cans in the alley, and I get a shovel, and I pick up the squirrel, and I throw it into one of the cans. And I close the lid, and then I read online the thing to do is you pour vinegar on the maggots and then boiling water. So I do that, and the maggots all die, and the flies are still hovering. And then I go out and I look in the garbage can, and there's a ton of maggots. So I pour boiling water into the garbage can, and it's killing the maggots. And then I come back 10 minutes later, and the head of the squirrel is sticking out of the water that's in the, and it's covered in maggots. All the maggots crawl to the head. And so I got more boiling water. But now there's this can in the alley. It's 80 degrees out. It fucking stinks. I don't know whose can it is. And so I guess garbage day is Tuesday, and I guess they'll come pick it up.
Why wouldn't you just put it in a plastic bag and
I know.
cinch the shit out of it?
I know.
So in my tenement in New York, down on Sullivan Street, which is not a tenement anymore. Anyway, I was there once. Remember my walk up. It was in 5 floors. It was crazy.
Hey, Chris Denman's here.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, everybody. Chris Denman in the house.
How are you?
I'm fucking tired. We did I don't know. We did a
we're
Jack Daniels
recording.
event last.
We're recording.
Sweet. Great. We'll leave this in.
Yeah, no, I think we do.
I
was
think everybody
near you,
wants
by the
to
way.
see
I was
Chris
up in
Denman.
Rock Island, right up the river.
Good talk, everybody. You're already recording. Cool.
Yeah. That's the first people have seen of Chris Denman. I wonder what they think. Right
It
in
was
at
so
Fitzdog
nice of him
Radio.
without his pillowcase on his head with the holes in it.
I know. No MAGA hat, nothing on the head.
You saw how well lit he was with the tiki torch, though.
That's right. And it is great that he's grown his hair back because it was shaved for a long time.
And yes, Chris, Kamala's black. Just let it go.
Yeah, yeah. And the boxer is a woman. Kamala's black, and Obama was born in the United States.
So anyway, the 5th floor walk up, and all of a sudden, like there were like flies in the apartment, like in the hallway in the apartment. I'm like, what the fuck? And I thought it was like a garbage issue, and because there was like, I don't think there was a garbage. How did I take my garbage out? I don't even remember how I did that. I guess it was a chute. So anyway, I go like 2 floors down below me once I'm walking down, and I'm like hitting a fly away from my face on the stairwell, and then an old woman. It was actually they call them Goodfellas widows, but this old woman who was in the building downtown. She's like, hey, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, oh, but there's like flies upstairs. She stopped everything she's doing, and she's like, flies? And I go, yeah. And she's like, in the hallway. And I go, yeah. She's like, whoa, oh. And I'm like, what? She's like, oh. And she just like flaps her hands and walks away. Cab driver was dead down the hall from me in his apartment. She knew it a mile away.
No.
Covered in maggots, and then the flies are born out of him. They know, old people know when there's never flies in that building. When there are flies all of a sudden, that's not a good sign.
Lord of the Flies. You remember the book Lord of the Flies? It was about how flies congregate around the devil, Lucifer.
I thought it was about kids having a good time.
Yeah, but I think there was also something about flies. I think that's what flies meant.
Oh, okay.
Someone will correct me on that, I'm sure. So I go to the beach. I've been doing this thing where I just jump on my bike every day around 2, 3 o'clock. I ride to the beach. It takes me about 6 minutes to get to the beach from my house. I run down to the ocean. I ride some waves. I walk up and down the beach until my bathing suit is dry. And then I ride home. It takes me, the whole thing is 45 minutes.
Perfect.
And so I'm walking down the beach, and there are 4 Danish chicks with no tops on, and they are fucking 10s. And I was looking at the sky like, there is a Jesus Christ. It's all true. Oh, and
now your shorts are soaked again.
There are so many dudes. I'm not even looking at the girls after a while. I'm looking at the dudes with their wives, straining their eyes to look out of the corner of them at the women and not directly at them. And, it just made my fucking day. Women don't know the joy they can bring us in doing something like that.
Is it joy? It's also frustration sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. It can make you angry.
Some people are like, fucking holy shit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to avoid that and just enjoy it. I'm sure if you look online, I'm sure a number of people have loaded pictures of them. They were walking around, they were sitting down, talking, animated, laughing.
You're like, Owen, get down here. Another bonding
Well, it
moment.
happened once. I was with your brother-in-law, George, and Matt Malloy, and we went out to the beach. There was one summer, remember George was unemployed one summer?
Yeah.
And Matt, of course, doesn't work a lot, especially in the summers. And so we just went to the beach almost every day. And Matt, of course, shows up, and he's got his car so packed that he has stuff strapped to the roof. He's got fucking Lay's lounges, chaise lounges, and coolers and umbrellas and footballs and frisbee, like everything.
It's ridiculous.
And so we set up, and then this woman shows up, and she sits down alone right near us and takes off every stitch of clothing. And she's small, and she's beautiful. And then this guy
she's
comes
small because she's 15.
She's 15 years. She's 9. It was weird. She wasn't wearing a top. And then this guy shows up, and he looks like he just got out of the drunk tank. Like, he looked hungover, Latino dude. He's wearing dress shoes and a dress shirt open to the collar, like he'd been at a nightclub the night before and hadn't gone home yet. And then he came and he just started circling her. He just kept circling her, and we're going, dude, you're fucking blowing it.
Tighter. Yeah.
And so finally she put her clothes on, and
I don't know if I told this story. I'm going to make it super quick, but the nudity thing reminded me of it. So my niece works for this, Kate, and she works for caring for people, and one of the element components is with comfort animals and stuff like that. But it's occupational therapy is the phrase I was looking for. So anyway, one thing she's doing, because Kate is just gaga over animals. So anyway, one thing she pitched at work was, let's do our pet of the month and that type of thing. So whatever, Sandra's pet one. Did I tell you this story about the dog?
No.
So let's say it's Sandra. And so it's Sandra's pet. So Sandra gave Kate a thing, and she then posted the picture of the dog. And it's like, Sandra's, Billy, her bulldog, is the pet of the month and all this. She then gets a letter, Kate does, from another woman who works there. Kate, I've already contacted HR. Just so you know, I thought the photo you published of the dog was incredibly disturbing. It's on its back with its genitals out. And so I start dying laughing, and I'm like, Kate, this is my new favorite person at work because this is a perfect prank and joke on you. She's like, it's not. And I'm like, well, now it's still my favorite person. She's like, it is not at all. HR then called me and apologized because it was so real.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to handle it. But this woman then talked about that it's been 3 days. I wasn't even going to write you. I was just going to contact HR, but I am still so disturbed by it. I think you knew what you were posting. This is a psychopath who's helping other people.
Right.
That's the craziest part.
Right. My mom lives in a condo down in Florida, and it's all old people. And you know how those condos are. The Board of Governors is
territorial.
It is worth filming for a reality show. It's hilarious. So one week, there starts to be rumors, or not, rumblings about a painting. It's it's an abstract painting, and it's hanging by the elevator, and it is just a bunch of abstract shapes, and they start to talk about that there's a penis in the painting, and it's disgusting, and my grandkids come down here, and how can you have that hanging in a public place? So they have the meeting, and it turns into a town hall. People are screaming, it's perversion, and who would put this up here? They should be kicked out of the condo, my grandkids. And so it goes back and forth 3 meetings, and then finally they take the painting, and it's erect. The penis is erect. And they take I come down a month later, and I go, so what happened to the painting? And she walks me down the hall, down a darker hall, past the laundry machines, and it's hanging on the wall, and they flipped it upside down, so at least it's not erect anymore.
aimed right at a George O'Keefe pussy, which had to be put down the hall also. All right, wait, we'll do one last news story, or 2 less. This is better. So regarding old boards, remember the condo in West Hampton my dad had? He bought it in 71 or something. It's not on Dune Road. So there was a condo board, same thing. Old people, and a lot of them who were the original people are like, this is heaven. There's a pool, the ocean, and no kids. So all of a sudden my dad's coming in with 2 kids. And then other people were there with 2 kids. So my dad goes, all of a sudden these 3 guys, and 2 became lifelong friends. 3 guys come in to meet with my dad, and they're like, listen, you have to run for the board. And he's like, by the way, I'm Mike. And he meets them. They don't even know my dad. And they're like, no, you have to go run for the board because they don't know you. But we've got to, all people with kids have to change the rules here. And one of the things they had was, there was a notice that the old people, and they put up there, they made a new rule. No kids can go to the pool without their owners. It literally said owners. So my dad runs to the board and doesn't win. And I remember him telling me this, but he got like 15 votes. And so the next year he ran and he got 8. Once they knew him and his family, he got half as many votes.
Their owners. It's so funny because all those old people had kids. And it just goes to show they're such fucking pariahs that their kids don't come by. So the people that are voting are ones that have been estranged from their families because they're such douchebags.
Yep. Oh, they would scream dirty looks. Oh, kids being loud. The loudest kids ever get, I'll give them credit, is in a swimming pool.
Yeah.
They come up, they're screaming their faces off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of people that are great, our logo this week is from Press Opera, which are our good friends Erin and I'm spacing the other one's name, but she.
That is a professional artwork right there.
Yes, that is beautiful. These are the women that came to my show in, I believe it was Portland, and they dressed up as Blondie and Hager. They're amazing. They write in all the time. I believe they've done music for us.
We might have to get their permission to use that, or not get their permission and just use it. Maybe that's next year's koozie or playing cards, or some playing cards is a good idea.
Yeah. What do you think about shipping them yourself next time?
I'm going to hand deliver them everywhere. Canada.
By the way, I got a bunch of people that wrote in this week that said, "Thank Mike, I got my koozie."
I love it.
Everybody's getting their koozies.
Wouldn't that be an interesting character in a movie? Or I don't know where it would be, but I just thought of the idea that you have a following like we do or whatever, and you just decide maybe it's over. And you're like, you know what? I am going to personally deliver something to every listener, and that's going to be a year on the road.
And you shoot it as a documentary.
Just driving around and you deliver it. You probably have a meal with them or something like that. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Be funny if you showed up in East fucking bumfuck Michigan and you give them the koozie and they're like, "All right, thanks a lot." And you're like, "A meal?" And they're like, "No, we're good, thanks." And you just drove 4 hours.
By the way, I'm in East Bumfuck. I'm in a Red Roof Inn south of Ann Arbor.
Why are you in a Red Roof Inn? That's the worst hotels in
It's
the country.
the worst, but you know what? This one, I saw it at a good rating, and also availability was tough from 3 nights in a row. But this Wi-Fi is better than the Wi-Fi I have in my house.
DJ Seawood did the amazing song this week. Thank you, DJ. Loved it.
Very cool.
He has given us a bunch of songs in the past. We need more songs. If you are a musician, if you've written songs for us in the past and sent them in, we've gotten very low for some reason. We usually have tons in the pipeline. So if you can put something together, send it off. Again, we're not looking for ELO here. This does not have to be,
That's the reference.
Well, I was just thinking about orchestrated and high tech.
Oh no, I put ELO on the trip.
It can be
telephone
real simple.
Line.
Just a telephone line breaks my heart every time. Jesus. Send them in to fitzdogradio@gmail.com. That's also where you're going to send your logos for the show, which we also need. But actually, we don't need logos for right now. We're good. But songs, send them in. Even if it's you on an acoustic guitar, as long as it's heartfelt and personal, we love it.
Acapella.
Acapella. Well, let's not push it. If you have a good voice, do acapella. But if you sound like a deranged psychopath,
don't acapush it.
Don't acapush it. And then corrections, Lawrence Zemlick said, did Mike say flushed out
I did not.
when referring to the character on season 2 of The Bear? It's fleshed out.
I 100% didn't, but I'm in writers' rooms all the time, and I hear flushed out a lot.
Bob Patterson. Oh, actually, I don't know who wrote this one. Fuck. I really don't care, and you have a tendency to troll your listeners with intentional, confident misinformation. God, I should have
There you go.
Why didn't I call my fucking comedy album Confident Misinformation?
Oh, so good.
But the river in Paris is absolutely pronounced Seine, not sane.
Of course
And
it
because
is.
I've truly never heard anyone pronounce it sane, I'm assuming you did it on purpose to be a rascal.
It was insane.
I think I half did it kiddingly. But he ends it by saying, Nous vous aimons, passez une bonne semaine, which means we love you, have a great week.
Huh. I thought it was past the salmonella bread. I don't know what that is.
Past the salmon.
Yeah.
Bob Patterson,
Insanity.
our most anal listener, Bob Patterson, said Louisville or Louisville. I must have said Louisville. Also, he said, you cannot start a sentence with me and Aaron. If you do, people will write you off as a crude, uneducated adults.
Good point.
Okay. And then Rob Mitchell said, it's horse feathers, not without feathers. Okay, Without Feathers was the Woody Allen book. I must have called the Marx Brothers movie that. That's from Boas McLean. And then Rob Mitchell said, oh, my fucking God, you two mangled this again. Even after my last email, you two should... He's so angry, he's like misspelling. Something about Simpson shorts on the Ullman Show. I'm surprised this bit of comedic animation history escapes you both. I've heard different things. I had a guy stop me on the street on Venice Beach who's a listener, guy named Bob, and he said that it did indeed start as a comic strip, but it was called something else. And then Tracy Ullman did it as a short on her show, and then it became The Simpsons. That's the story I'm going with.
I remember the very first time I saw The Simpsons. I was in a movie theater, I think on 86th Street on the east side, and it played among the trailers. And it was, I think it might have been the theater chain that was responsible for it, because it was, I think they were eating popcorn and like were disruptive in the theater. I also remember maybe they were in a psychiatrist's office. Someone will probably know what I'm talking about. And then, of course, they were on Tracy Ullman. That's where they were there first. But it was around that time, before it was a show. You know, Tracy subsequently litigated to get a piece of The Simpsons because she felt responsible for their launch, and she won.
She did?
I believe that is correct.
Whoa, dude, how great was she on Curb the last season? Did you see that?
She's such a powerhouse. Are you
Such
kidding me?
a powerhouse. Ryan from Chicago said the date rape drug is called roofie because the name of the drug is Rufinol. Well, watch out in Chicago for Ryan. Seems to be very well versed in the, and you can't find it on the South Side anymore.
What is Rofinol? I mean, I assume it's for surgery?
Maybe.
Because I told you that Curb episode where he's having, it was an idea I pitched, him like many years ago. I never met him, but you send him in, and it was that he couldn't get to sleep at all. He was having huge sleep issues, couldn't sleep through the night and all this. And so then he goes on around looking and asking people if they have any roofies, which does not go well.
It does go well. Louisville Comedy Club on August 23rd and
Louisville.
4th. Denver Comedy Works, August 29 through 31. That's a great time. Austin, I'll be at the Mothership September 6th through the 8th. Temecula, just announcing this, the Montserrat Winery on September 21st. That sounds lovely.
Sure
I'll be in
does.
Alaska in Fairbanks September 25th through the 28th. Also coming to Tulsa, Tacoma, and San Francisco this fall. Fitzdog.com for tickets. Also, don't forget my special, You Know Me, comes out on August 27th on YouTube and audio will be on all streaming. I will be announcing it officially on the Joe Rogan Show, and then I will be on that week. I'm doing Shane Gillis's show, Segura's show, Kill Tony, Mark Maron, We Might Be Drunk, Bonfire with Jay Okerson, Adam Carolla, Bert Kreischer, doing it all.
Jeez. Amazing.
So-
Well, I'll tell you the ones to say hi to. Some don't know me, but some do.
Okay. We also want to give a shout out to Comedy Gives Back is producing the Brody Stevens Festival of Friendship Walk. That's going to be Saturday, August 17th in Reseda at 1 p.m. If you want to come out, go to comedygivesback.com. This is we both know these women very well that run this.
They're great.
Yeah, Amber J, Jody, and Zoe. And they have put together a show the next night on Sunday where they're going to have a killer lineup. All the money benefits mental health programs that Comedy Gives Back puts together. By the way, this is for the comedy community, like literally comics that don't have health insurance, that need drug rehab, all kinds of stuff. Help people with their rent when they're really stuck. And Bert Kreischer, I got to tell you, I'm not going to tell you the number. He continues to give a phenomenal amount of money to this group.
That's
so
amazing.
Shout out to Bert for that.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of comics do, but Bert's done a really amazing job there. Support for this show comes from Game Time. I love going to concerts. I love going to theater. I love going to sports, and it's stressful unless you have a way to get tickets where you know you're not getting ripped off. I remember going to the Stones, and those prices are so fucking high, but I kept watching it, and then they dipped, and I jumped in, and I got seats for like $120 that had been like $450, and I had a blast. And by the way, you don't have to buy great tickets. Buy shitty tickets. Be a teenager. Walk down. Get kicked out of a seat. It's fun.
Well, here I am in Detroit. Well, it's saying it's Detroit, but I guess it's Detroit area. Ice Spice today at the Fillmore, $9. Kenny Chesney tomorrow. Let's see here. He's with Zach Brown, I think. They're there. Whoa. And the Zach Brown band, $164.
Here's
country in or what?
Here's what's happening. If you check and go, you can check your area. What's the thing called where you check your area?
No,
zone,
it's this. Yeah, the zone deals.
Yeah, you can check what's playing in your area. And
that's Discover. That's Discover.
Yeah, keep your mind open, and you will see there are concerts that don't sell out, and the artist doesn't want to look at empty seats. So at the last minute, they sell them through this site, and you can grab them. So, You mean like Blink 182 for $51 and still has time to drop? Yep. Get on that. I mean, not Blink 182, but bands like that. You can check out what it looks like from your seat. There's lowest price guarantees. There are so many different ways to customize it that you can't lose. Major League Baseball tickets are
Brad
super
Williams,
cheap.
If you want a little fun, Brad Williams, $33. It's probably going to go down.
It will go down, like Brad.
Glass Animals, look at them, $26.
Low prices for Brad.
Rob Zombie.
Basement. Bottom. Views from all seats. I already said that. So anyway, listen, take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PAPERS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PAPERS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. There we go.
What do I have here?
Front page, we are now 44 minutes into the podcast as we hit the first news item.
I love it. It's slow. It's a slow news cycle. It will be until the end of the year. All right, I have a receipt. Does that work as a paper?
Yeah.
Front page.
Extra, read all about it. Extra.
Oh, It's a Florida story out of the gate. Hurricane Debbie hit Florida in the most Floridian way. Wind and seas were high, and Border Patrol agents did their part when they recovered 25 packages of a cocaine weighing 70 pounds blown onto a Florida Keys beach. A beachgoer found the packages at a beach in the Archipelago, probably that.
Archipelago.
It's the Seine. It's right near the Seine. And contacted authorities, according to Samuel Briggs, acting chief patrol agent for the U.S. Border Patrol's Miami sector. A similar discovery was made in July last year by Tampa Mayor Jane Castor, who reeled in 70 pounds of cocaine worth more than $1 million at a Florida Keys beach. So we wonder why Florida is Florida. You can't take a walk on the beach like you do to have dry your shorts without tripping over mounds of cocaine.
You can't fish for marlin without pulling out an 8-ball.
Yeah.
And they say that it was worth $1 million, which after the police cut it, it was worth $3 million. And
exactly.
And so the guy finds out on the beach, and he when he turned it in, he pulled up in a Rolls Royce Silver Shadow and explained for 2.5 hours how he found it and how things like this never happened to him. But once when he was in middle school, he found a box in the woods that had trophies in it, and he kept them on his mantle. But then in high school, he found a camera, so he developed a roll of film, and it was all photos of a guy holding hands with another dude and them laying shirtless next to each other. Anyway, he knew the kid who developed the photos at Walgreens, who told all the kids at school, and they were like, all right, we got it. We got the cocaine. Thank you.
Wait a minute. What was that?
That was the guy obviously did a lot of cocaine before turning it in.
Got it. What a cocaine trip that guy had.
Oh, we're so in sync. We're so in sync today. We got the owners. The owners of the Return to Nature Funeral Home have been offered a plea deal in their state-level case. John and Carrie Halford faced 286 criminal charges stemming from the discovery of bodies improperly stored at their funeral home. They're in their 40s, and they face a raft of criminal charges. In some cases, they are accused of giving their customers urns holding fake ashes rather than their loved ones' cremated remains. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I think one of the families became suspicious when the ashes in the urn also had a butt of a cool menthol.
Why does my urn say, beloved Fluffy, you were perfect? That's not Mom.
Why she didn't have fur? Why am I sneezing at Mom? So anyway, they're in trouble. Abortion was slightly more common across the U.S. in the first 3 months of this year than it was before the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade and cleared the way for states to implement bans. Yeah, I heard it was like Black Friday at abortion clinics. Just 9 a.m., doors open, people charging in, grabbing abortions.
I think it was the angry people about this decision. I go, yeah, we'll show you. Put a baby in me,
right,
and then take it out.
Yeah, there were women spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for in vitro fertilization, and like, nope, kill it. I'm making a point.
They were bringing in their toddlers.
Yeah,
kill it.
Now, how many trimesters can I go? This one's around 14 trimesters.
We'll show them, those bastards.
A woman died, speaking of death,
Thursday
morning at Chicago O'Hare International Airport after getting caught in a baggage carousel. The woman, who has not yet been publicly identified, well, she should have worn a bag tag, was 57. Emergency responders were called to Terminal 5. She was pinned in the machinery. And that's one of those moments where you're torn between being a hero and getting an amazing viral video. And clearly there was a lot of video shot that day and no heroes.
Not all bad news. It was the only bag found in O'Hara that weekend. It was, yeah. Usually they lose all of it.
Right.
Also, Spirit Airlines immediately charged her because she was a checked bag.
And she was over 50 pounds, so there was a surcharge.
It did not work out for her at all.
Let's get to entertainment.
Here we go. Oh, I like this story. Hulk Hogan sends serious warning to Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Affleck and Damon are producing an upcoming movie about Hogan's infamous courtroom battle with website Gawker, and the Hulkster says he won't hesitate to sue if he feels that the film violates his privacy. In 2016, Hulk, the Hulkster, filed a lawsuit against Gawker after they posted video from a sex tape of Hogan and the wife of a friend, shock jock Bubba the Love Sponge. The footage also includes a racial epithet. Whoa. Hogan won a $140 million verdict, sending Gawker into bankruptcy.
I think they call him Bubba the Love Sponge because after people fuck his wife, he comes in and wipes up. He cleans the wet spot for you.
You know Bubba, don't you?
I know Bubba very well. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I've told this story on the show, but the first time I did his show, I had heard that it was dark. I had heard that like crazy shit happens on this show. So it's one of those deals where I fly across the country to Tampa on a Thursday, drag my ass to a show that night, get home at midnight, asleep at 1 a.m., and then I got to wake up at 6 a.m. to go do morning radio. And now that's 3 a.m. LA time. So you get up, I drink a cup of coffee. They got a car that drives me to his studio, which, believe it or not, is in a building behind the Girl Scouts National offices. And so we go in, and there's a little person who's on the couch outside the studio, and he has pissed himself. That's just, how you doing? Welcome to the Bubba Show.
Sure.
I walk in the studio, and they are all drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon Tall Boys, and they asked me if I want to get high, and I said, there's nothing more I'd like to do right now than get high with you people. So I go in the back and I smoke a joint, and then I come into the studio, and it is dark. It's like a strip club dark. And he's sitting behind it's almost like Captain Kirk's, where he sits on the Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah.
He's sitting behind this wall that's kind of lit up. And then I go sit down, and then we start talking, and it's like immediately like he's on the phone with a listener who's in Michigan and is in the middle of an armed robbery at a bank and is calling Bubba to get his advice. So that goes on, and that's a running thing, and that's apparently real. And then Bubba pulls out I don't know a lot about guns, but I seem to remember them saying it was like an Israeli 12-gauge handgun, if that's possible. And he pulls it out, and everybody clears the room. And I was like, what? What? Like producers, interns, I'm alone with Bubba the Love Sponge and a giant fucking Israeli handgun. And I'm high out of my mind. And so that was the first of probably a good half a dozen visits I made. And every one of them stacked up like that.
And he had the hot wife, and I guess the Hulk slept with her.
Or maybe he didn't. I mean, maybe it was like his professional career where he just pretended to do it and didn't actually ever penetrate her. Professional wrestling joke?
Oh, I see. Sorry, I didn't get that. Yeah, I don't know. But I remember this, and I remember our good buddy Peter Thiel paid for... Peter Thiel did not like, I believe I have this right, that Gawker was calling him gay.
They outed him.
They outed Peter Thiel. So Peter Thiel decided, I'm a billionaire. Let me put Gawker out of business. Mm-hmm. So he found the Hulk's claims against Gawker, and he paid for the trial and drove them into bankruptcy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I believe I have that right.
There's there's so much to dislike about Peter Thiel. Thiel or Thiel, I never know which one it is.
Yeah, I think it's Teal.
But there's two things we like about him. One is that he ran Gawker out of business, and two is that he is promoting our friend Tom O'Neill's book Chaos.
That's right. And
So-
he had us to his Christmas party.
He did. Great Christmas party. Magic
Yeah.
mushrooms and people fucking juggling, burning torches, and a sushi bar the size of like a mansion.
Least gay party I've ever been to because it was not fun.
And there was not an attractive woman in the place.
No, not. I mean, you're a billionaire. His house, we've talked about it. It looks like a Westfield mall up in the hills, like cold, giant, 2-story, like marble pillars and glass, and not even a home. It really does look like a mall and feels like it. But I mean, you just called a modeling agency and said, I'll send a bus.
Right. Yes.
I'll pay them each $2,000 for a couple of hours. Just sprinkle my party with good-looking people, please.
Yep.
Couldn't even do that.
That's it.
All right.
Burning Man.
Incredibly unusual. Burning Man ticket sales dry up after sloppy year. Burning Man, which last year became a mud-soaked quagmire, has released a last-minute pool of around 3,000 tickets in response to sagging sales. Attendance has faltered post-pandemic due to extreme weather events and heat waves, flooding, which last Labor Day weekend sent many burners, including comedian Chris Rock and DJ Diplo, fleeing from the Nevada desert. Let's see here. The festival did not sell out at this point. It's very unusual. And the low attendance is the extreme weather plus the $780 entrance fee to the festival with a vehicle. What?
Oh, my God. And the 780 does not include transfer fees for having your parents wire you more of your trust fund, dry cleaning your Birkenstocks, scrubbing social media videos of you dancing to Dave Matthews with your cock smeared in body paint. There's a lot of add-ons.
Yeah, it adds up for sure. And also, I mean, maybe it's occurring to people, hey, going to the desert in the middle of August is maybe too hot of an idea.
Yeah.
Just maybe.
Yeah.
But I remember that flooding last year. They were trapped.
They were trapped for days. They were airlifting in water and food. And our buddy Pete Scott goes every year with his brothers.
Yep.
They actually have a what do you call it? A mobile home that they leave in Reno. They leave it there year round. And then once a year, they all fly in. Somehow the fucking truck starts. They drive it into the desert, and they spend like 4 days.
Also, Jerry, my roommate, who you know very well from college, he's there. He was, in the Bay Area, so it was kind of easy for him. But every time Pete was like coming, I'm like, I have spent too much time professionally making fun of this thing, making jokes every year on late night TV and stuff. I'm like, I really can't go.
Yeah, I think the ship sailed on that festival anyway. I think it's all corporate now. It's like, Red Bull with a fucking booth.
Well, 780 to get in there with a view.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
All right, let's make America Florida.
Let's do it.
Here we go. St. Pete, you sent me this. You emailed me this. St. Pete man arrested after he threw spaghetti at mom's head. A normal family dinner got heated after an argument between a Florida mother and her son, and it had dishes flying in the air. The spaghetti meal turned violent after the 41-year-old man threw spaghetti at his mother's head. Oh, mama, I'm making pasta sauce splatter all over the walls. This isn't the first time being arrested for throwing objects for these two. The mother and son duo live together and can be often heard fighting inside the residence. Of course, is really all I have to say to this.
And I mean, I love that they didn't give us the names because I'm telling you right now, it ended with a vowel. The last name ended with a vowel. Because for Italians, throwing a plate of spaghetti at someone's head, that's like toasting. That's like, hey, nicely done.
Think about how many movies, and just off the top of my head, I remember Saturday Night Fever had a really like Brooklyn Italian crazy angry dinner. I think Spike
Oh,
Lee's
don't
had
touch
some
my
Italian-
hair. I work all day on my hair.
Yeah.
And you touch my hair.
And then like even in like Moonstruck, snap out of it and slap across the face.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the Italians are hitting each other in families. This shouldn't even be a news story.
No, it's Florida.
Yeah, it's also Florida. Okay, let's make Texas Florida. Man, I love this. Man taking out trash, slips in mud, and fatally shoots himself in the chest. First responders received a call for help at about 6 a.m. after a man was found lying on the ground unresponsive at an apartment complex on San Antonio's north side. Investigators said the 58-year-old was carrying his garbage and a handgun when he slipped on mud and tumbled down a small hill. While tumbling, his pistol went off and a round hit him in the chest. Well, what happened to stand your ground, pal? That's what's going on here.
Yeah, I think he didn't stand on his ground. It sounds like he fell down on his ground.
He tumbled down his ground.
And they said there was no foul play suspected. The wife said that he was just taking out the garbage. It had a broken plate with spaghetti on it. And somehow, I don't know, the gun just went off.
That's why Florida has did better than Texas in so many ways.
Yeah.
Like, that's what your weapon. Stand your ground with a plate of pasta.
Yeah.
It works. It works.
Yeah.
You can get arrested that way also. Oh, this poor guy. Jeez.
58 years old.
Is it that unsafe to take your trash out?
I know.
Are you that afraid? I don't know.
Well,
All right, let's get to sports.
sports.
All right, this is you.
Filipino gymnast Carlos Yulo was rewarded with plenty of wild perks for winning 2 Olympic gold medals at the Paris Games. I got to guess those were the only Olympics that the Filipinos got. On Saturday, he won the men's floor event. And then 24 hours later, he won the men's vault. And so he tripled his country's medal count from 1 to 3 in 100 years of participating. Wow. In 100 years, they won 1 gold medal. For his efforts, Yulo was bestowed a condo unit that's estimated to sell for $414,000. In the Philippines, it must be a fucking skyscraper. Originally, it was a 2-bedroom unit, but after Yulo notched a second gold, it was upgraded to 3 bedrooms. Additionally, he receives a downpour of Filipino pesos north of $10 million from the local government and private firms. So that's another $150. The list doesn't end there. He got a voucher worth $20,000 from department stores, unlimited entry to a local buffet chain, and a lifetime supply of ramen. This guy's going to be too fat to do the Olympics in 4 years.
Well, they see it coming. Look at the next thing he got.
Topping off the list is a haywire incentive, unlimited colonoscopies, and gastrointestinal consultations.
Unlimited colonoscopies is a bit of an overstatement. Like, I mean, unless there's trouble down there. I mean, when I got mine, which was the only one I've ever gotten, the guy goes, see you in 10 years.
Well, maybe if you're a homosexual, maybe it's like a thing. Maybe it's like a fetish.
Well, I would try to get my money's worth for sure. I'd be sticking shit up there all the time.
Yeah.
And then playing jokes, kind of like a jackass with the toy car up there.
Well, you remember, yeah. You remember the old joke about the gay guy goes to the doctor.
Proctologist.
The proctologist, and the proctologist, the doctor's super cute. He's like olive skin, black wavy hair, and he puts his finger in the guy's ass, and the guy goes, ooh. And then the doctor pulls his finger out, and he goes, it's fine. Everything checks out. You feel good. And the guy goes, great. And then he comes back. The next week, he comes into the office, and the guy goes, we just checked you out last week. He's like, yeah, I don't know. Something feels funny. Can you check it out again? So the doctor puts on the glove. He puts his finger up his ass, and he's like, whoa, yeah, I do feel something. And he pokes and he reaches in and he pulls out a dozen roses. And the guy goes, surprise!
Ridiculous. I just had a vision of going to the doctor's office and I'm wearing a glove. I'm like the scared guy. I'm like, I already checked it out. I'm fine. I'm fine. I checked it while I was waiting for you.
Yeah, you rub some chocolate on your index finger. We're good. We're
Gregory.
good.
Gregory.
International.
Okay, here we go. International news.
All right, let's go to what do we got that's good?
Yeah, you put a bunch in here.
Yeah. All right, let's do this first one. Suga from K-pop, the boy band BTS, has apologized after being fined for driving an electric scooter while intoxicated. He posted on social media he was very heavy-hearted and apologetic to bring his fans disappointing news. He said he had violated the Road Traffic Act when he had driven home in Seoul, thinking it was a close distance, and forgot that you can't use a scooter under the influence. I fell while parking the electric scooter in front of my house, and there was a police officer nearby. I was given a breathalyzer test and subsequently had my license revoked and was fined. Meanwhile, they did a dozen songs that were synthesized garbage and no fine. They were paid for it.
Even his cop in that faraway land asked, "Who's Timberlake?" After pulling over. Here's the headline. Here's the headline I wanted to read. BTS DUI LOL. That would have been the headline in the New York Post.
Yeah, why don't we do a New
version.
York Post headline for... We should pick 3 stories of the week that we're going to do New York Post headlines on.
I like that idea.
Okay. Maybe put it out to the listeners.
Okay, and then I have to read through them because you're reading through all the comics?
Yes, we're going to have them put it on the YouTube channel comments, which you are so good about getting to these days.
I think I am, right?
Yep, you're doing a great job.
Okay, where are we going down to this day in history?
Let's do this day in history.
Here we go. Okay, let me find it. Let me find this day. What is it, Sunday?
Oh,
Here
God.
we
You don't
go.
even have it pulled up on your computer?
No. It's right here.
Uh-huh.
Jackson Pollock. I don't think I want to do that. All right, here we go. I don't think you're going to get this one. At a back-to-school party in the Bronx, New York, DJ Kool Herc introduced the technique of playing the same album on 2 turntables and extending the drum section, which became known as the breakbeat. The night is widely recognized as the birth of hip-hop.
Huh.
Give or take 5 years. That's a 10-year window. What year did DJ Kool Herc basically create hip-hop?
Okay, let's see. I'm in school in I'm thinking of 7th and 8th grade dances. So that would have been 1979. The school dances were half classic rock and half hip hop because our school had a lot of black kids in it. And so, so if that was 79, I got to think it had to have been up and running pretty well by then. I'm going to say 1975.
Wow, 1973.
Nice.
So wait a minute. I didn't remember it being hip-hop being that accessible in 78. I mean, I'm probably totally wrong. What was the name of the first Sugar Hill Gang?
Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight. What year was that?
I'm looking it up.
That might have been a little after that, actually.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was going on. Rapper's Delight. They began being active in 79.
Okay.
So that's why.
That's probably the year they were playing it at my school dance.
Rapper's Delight was 1980.
Oh. Okay.
So I thought you were going to correctly guess later than 73.
Now,
All right.
what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat. All right. Give me another one.
Okay, let's see here. In a game against the Cleveland Indians, Babe Ruth of the New York Yankees hit his 500th career home run, became the first player in baseball to reach that milestone. What year did he do this? Give or take 7 years.
Babe Ruth. Let's see. I'm thinking about video of him, and it was some pretty early grainy video. So let's go back to the 1940s. I'm going to guess 500th would have been a little later. I'm going to say 1953.
Yeah, people are smashing their heads against the wall. No. He was the 1920s Yankees.
Oh, okay.
1929. I think the 27 Yankees is widely, or a lot of people think it's the best team ever.
Who was on it?
I don't know, but I mean, Ruth was on it.
That was before Mickey Mantle and
Yeah. You look it up. No, you can't look it up. No.
Okay.
I'm going to look it up when you overthink this next one.
Okay.
DJ Herc couldn't have done anything without Thomas Alva Edison. On this day, American inventor Edison made perhaps his most original discovery, the phonograph. Give or take 25 years, when did Edison invent the phonograph?
1889.
You bitch. 1877.
Nice. Wow.
Okay.
1877. Shit.
All right, here we go. 1927 Yankees player stats.
Lou
We
Gehrig,
got
Bob Musial.
Lou Gehrig, Pat Collins, Tony Lazzari, Joe Dugan, Koenig, Combs, Ruth, Bob Musial, not Stan the Man Musial. Yeah, they were incredible. Let's see. 110 and 44. Pretty good
110 and
stuff.
44. Wow.
All right, and let me see if there's one more here for us. William Blake, we're not going to do that. I do think I have another one. It's a little dry. Oh, this is interesting. The last known quagga, Quagga. It's a type of zebra native to South Africa. You've seen photos of them. They're kind of like a zebra from the shoulders up, and the rest looks like a horse. The last known of that type of zebra died in the Amsterdam Zoo. Give or take 20 years. When was that?
Oh, God. How the fuck do I know? The last one, 1962.
See, you should have asked yourself, why is Mike doing this dumb story? And it was to make a point. We killed that fucking thing off by 1883.
Whoa. Damn.
Yep. So that's that. I don't think we
Okay.
have any more that are interesting here.
All right, we're going to remind people the koozies are on sale. We got a bag of them, freshly signed, ready to go out. Go to fitzdog.com, look for the link to the koozies, and you're going to send Mike $10 total, no shipping, to his, what is it, your
Shipped
Zelle
out
account?
immediately. Shipped out immediately.
Right away.
Oh, someone said the link on your thing. A couple of people said the link was not working.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
Yep.
Let me check on that. I'm going to remind myself. I'm going to send myself an email right now.
Oh, there you go.
Koozie link.
Oh, I didn't look up an obituary again this week. We did 2 last week, I think. Did anyone we know pass?
Who died this week? I can't think of anybody.
Neither can I. But
All right,
I was
let's
on the
let it
road.
go. Let's let it go.
The car I drove is half dead. Funnies, here we go.
Let's start it out. Last week we gave you a funny. It is a captionless frame of a comic strip. There are two gentlemen. They both look like they're really ragged. They're crawling through the sand in a hot desert, and they're crossing each other. They're going in opposite directions, and there's cactuses around. And so here are some of your submissions. The winner, of course, wins a koozie. I read them all. I try to get as many as I can in. If I miss one that's great, I apologize. I'm not perfect. I'm doing my best. Okay, one guy says to the other guy, free skateboarding trip to Arizona. I wish I would have read the fine print. Okay.
Don't know if I understand it.
Tim Baggins says, I wouldn't bother. They won't let you in without a jacket and tie.
Okay.
Ed Sklar says, yeah, Josh, she does not fuck around in vetting her VP candidates.
Okay. Arizona. I like that.
Lane in Denver.
If it's Arizona.
Lane in Denver said, were you also fooled by the mirage of a hopeful candidate? Another political one.
Yeah.
Larry Z says, dick itch. Yep. Shania. Yep.
Okay.
Jacob Tinman said, I think we should go back to the horse-drawn plow. My penis is starting to chafe, and we're out of Viagra.
Okay.
It's colorful, visual.
Yeah.
Ron Dvorak says, must deliver koozie. Second guy, I already delivered the koozie. That's good.
Yeah.
Jason Cobb, pardon me, you don't happen to have any Grey Poupon? Remember that commercial?
Of course I do.
Classic.
Yes.
Couple people sent that one in, but I gave it to Jason because he sent it in first. Kent Sackman said, what if I told you could save 20% off your home and car insurance if you bundle with Geico? Rich Kennedy?
Yeah.
Rich Kennedy said, I hear you, man. Definitely no place for a paraplegic.
Okay.
Tim Macy said, one cowboy says to the other, you say you found this ski resort on Groupon?
Okay.
Tim Woodhouse says, actually, yeah, it was a Boeing about 3 days ago. How did you know?
All right.
Sam Perino says, you haven't crawled past a Titleist in the last few days, have you? All right, we close strong. Close strong. Who do you like?
I don't know. Is there a way to not have a winner?
I think the last two were really good.
But like the Boeing one I like. But what happened to the guy who asked him, was it a Boeing?
Right.
Was he on the Boeing too?
Right.
Actually, yeah, it was a Boeing about 3 days. Yeah, I guess he was. And then the Titleist I kind of like, and they're looking forever. It does kind of work.
I like Must Deliver Koozie.
Yeah. My vote would be Boeing, I think.
All right, we're going to go with Boeing. This week's winner
Tim.
is Tim Woodhouse. Congratulations. Send us your address at fitzdogradio@gmail.com. We'll get that out to you post-haste.
Post-haste.
No pun intended. Let's get to the other comics. We got next week's. Oh, I forgot to pull next week's.
We could take a week off.
All right, we're going to take a week off while you guys get your thinking caps on.
It's August.
Hager and Lucky are coming home. They've got sacks over their shoulders. It's nighttime. And Hager says to Lucky, remember, if Helga asks you anything about our time in Paris, be as vague as possible. They walk inside, and Helga says, how did you and Hager spend your time in Vegas? And Lucky goes, it could have been in any of the worst ways possible.
What an idiot, right?
What an idiot. I mean, obviously they raped a lot of people. How did you spend your time in Paris? You mean between rapes? We ate some really good. We had escargot. You're at snail? Yeah. So, and then we raped. And then we went to this like cabaret show, which was pretty cool. But then we got horny again, so we went out and raped. How badly flagged do we get on the algorithm for YouTube, by the way?
Well, I think it's your potty mouth.
I know. Let's
look at
try a
him.
week
Look at-
where I don't say rape and see if we actually make any money.
Why couldn't they say, listen, we brought home the gold from Paris? See?
Right.
Topical. It works.
There you go. Oh,
For Norway.
I
For
get it.
Norway.
That's good.
Yeah. See?
That's good.
Norway is raking it in now.
All right, so Leroy's on the couch. It's the Lockhorns. Loretta's talking to her friend, and she says Leroy's upset. He just heard our song used in a dental commercial. Denture commercial. Sorry, I fucking butchered that.
Got it. They're
Now
old.
he walks in the door. He's had a rough day, and he says to her, "Please, Loretta, you know how was your day are trigger words for me."
I like that one a lot.
That's good.
Okay, here we are. We've arrived. The number one best Calvin
Drum
and Hobbes
roll, trumpets, finally.
of all time, according to this list, which everybody hates. Here we go. There are only 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 17 panels, but only like 4 of them have words in it. Here we go. They're playing outside in the snow again. It's a very popular setting for these two. And Calvin goes, I'm going to paste Susie's pate with a slush ball. And in the next, he's getting ready to throw it. And Hobbes is there with his red scarf on, standing behind him. And Hobbes says, some philosophers say that true happiness comes from a life of virtue. And then Calvin seems a little nonplussed by this, if I'm using that word correctly. And he's still holding it, and he looks pensive. And Hobbes is walking away. Now the frame, Calvin is alone, looks over at Susie, still holding it, thinking about it. Then we see the next frame, Calvin drops the snowball. Next frame, Calvin's at home, and it looks like he's cracking a book that he's dug up out of his bedroom. And in the next frame, he's into that book on the dining room table. And then he's writing something. In the next frame, he's bringing a card with a heart on it to his unsuspecting mom or unexpecting mom sitting on a chair reading a book. Then he goes outside and he's holding a shovel, and it looks like he shoved a walkway, shoved the snow so an old man
No,
could
that's
walk.
his father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I only have to know that for about 1 more minute. And then I'll never read this again. And then he's at the table, and it looks like he's setting the table. That's what he's doing. All the silverware's in his hands. And then in the next frame, he's taking out the garbage. Next frame, he's like swiping his hands like, oh, that's a work well done. Then there's a frame where his hands are on his hips. He's not doing anything. He's thinking about something. Something occurred to him. His eyes are wide. The next frame, it looks like he's cold. What would you say there? Or is he just angry?
He looks angry.
He's angry, but he's clutching his arms like, he's wrapping his arms around himself. Then he tears off running in the next frame. Second to last frame that I'll ever read of Calvin and Hobbes. He's laughing hysterically in the snow, and Susie is face down in the snow with a massive snowball on the back of her head. Now Calvin and Hobbes reappear together in the final frame, and they're walking off, and Calvin could not look happier and says, someday I'll write my own philosophy book. And Hobbes goes, virtue needs some cheaper thrills. And there you have it.
And
It's
number one.
It's in the funny section,
Mm-hmm.
which seems like a little journalistic oversight, but they're thinkers, man. I think these are thinkers for people who don't read books, maybe.
It's about the nature of man, that a child can't be good. In the end, he has to commit violence against a woman where she ends up face down in pain on the ground while he laughs.
Yeah.
That should be in the Sunday papers.
And that's his philosophy.
Yeah.
So Okay. Well, listen, we made it. We
did it. We did it. And we're going to leave off Blondie this week just out of respect to Calvin and Hobbes, the number one, the final time we'll read it on the Sunday Papers podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got angry about it. Some people got angry because you don't get it. We have way more mail from people that think you don't get it and than people that agree with you.
I'm going to find another list of greatest of a different strip.
Try to find one with less frames.
I hope. Good Lord. That took a lot out of me.
All right, well, listen, thank you for your support of the show. Again, looking for some songs, bang those out, send them in. We want to thank our sponsor, Game Time. Go to the Game Time app and put in code PAPERS and get yourself $20 off your first purchase. Thank you to Midcoast Media for doing an amazing job editing, producing, all the stuff they do for the podcast. Mike, anything you want to promote?
Let's see. Watch Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yep, Burt Bacharach.
That's your go-to thing. They're gorgeous, man. Even Sophie was like, wow. I mean, those two guys, just the magnetism on them. Unbelievable.
You know that was shot up in Malibu, right?
I don't know that. And
it was.
What part do you think was shot in Malibu?
I was there. The part where he jumps off the cliff into the water. No. I forget. Parts of it. Parts of it were shot up in Malibu. I guarantee that. That's fact.
I invite your correction. Okay, if you're going to say parts, that I could buy, but I mean...
No, the big mountain, where they're climbing through the mountain on the lamb, and then they jump off the cliff into the water. That was obviously like Colorado.
I'm thinking maybe some pickups inside a cabin. Not even then. I wonder.
You'll see. People will show up for me. They'll back me up.
They sure will. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week.
Take it, Ish.
Take it, Ish.
It's Sunday Papers. Read all about it. It's Greg and Mike. It's Fitzdog and it's Gibbons time. It's Sunday Papers. Read all about it. It's Fitzdog and it's Gibbons time. Okay. Mike is in the closet. Greg is at the beach. They try to crinkle paper. Together they take it each. Ba-ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da.